friends, this is Trish and welcome to Happy, Holy, Healthy Life. Today I want to tell you guys about, I think, the world's best form of journaling ever invented. Now, I did not make this up. This comes from one of my favorite Bible teachers and mentors, and her name is Barb Raveling. So I'll put all of her information in the comment section so you can check her out. But she came up with this awesome form of journaling called truth journaling. Now, if you're like me, you may have been journaling since you were in like elementary school or middle school, but this is a different form of journaling. So in your normal everyday kind of journaling, typically you'll talk about what happened that day and how you're feeling. But truth journaling is special because it really gets beneath the surface and it helps to confront lies that we may be believing, and it helps us to overcome negative emotions. So I'm going to explain how this works, and I'm going to give you a personal example from my real life so that you can see kind of what this looks like in everyday life. So let me just go ahead and give you the steps to truth journaling, and then I'm going to break it down for you. So one way of doing it, there's at least 3 or 4 ways that I've seen, but my favorite way of doing it is to break it into 4 sections. You have the situation, your emotions, your beliefs, and then the truth. So let's slow down a little bit and go through each one. So the situation is just the facts of what is going on in your life. Okay, the emotion is also pretty straightforward. It's kind of whatever feelings are cropping up, but this is where it gets really good and really interesting. The next part is beliefs. So when you're getting to that section, you're going to ask yourself, what kind of things am I thinking? And what am I imagining? And what am I thinking is true, basically? What am I believing about this situation? And then finally, my favorite part, you get to the truth. And this is where you think kind of outside of the box. I want you to think about, what would God say about the beliefs that you're having, about the situation, about your feelings? What would you tell someone that you love if they were in the same situation? You can ask yourself, is there any kind of proof or evidence for this belief that you have? Or you can ask yourself something like, does this belief support my goals? Now, I want to go through my real life situation that I had a couple of months ago, and I am going to read to you from my real life truth journal. So the situation was, I had a job interview at a church, and this has been a frustrating situation because I have applied to this church 3 years in a row. The first 2 times I applied, I was like 99% of the way hired, but then there was like a little mix-up that happened, and it's kind of a long story. It was basically a mistake, and I ended up accepting another job, blah, blah, blah. So I had some anxiety going into this interview because, I kid you not, the interview rounds the last time I went through, there was literally over 7 hours of interviewing, and it was kind of during the COVID season. So they were all over Zoom. So like I interviewed with like 7 people for like an hour each. So I felt like I was getting interrogated for the FBI. And so going in the 3rd time around to this interview situation, I was feeling a lot of anxiety. So my emotion in this situation would be dread, anxiety, fear, insecurity, just all of those feelings. Okay. Now here's the interesting part. This is where I kind of delved into some of the beliefs, and it's not always super easy to know what you're believing. Sometimes you kind of got to dig deep. What I like to do as a person of faith is I like to ask the Holy Spirit and say, okay, Lord, what kind of things am I believing that is basically creating these emotions? So these are some of the things that I wrote down, and it's kind of depressing, but bear with me. I wrote down, I'm not good enough for this church. I'm going to make a fool of myself. I'm not prepared. I'm going to be a nervous wreck. It's going to be awkward. I'm not ready. Doing this is going to be way too scary. This job's going to be too hard. I'm not going to know how to answer the questions. The interview will be super intimidating. So I'm just going to spare you all of it because I wrote out like 20 things, but I just gave you half of them. Those were like 10 separate thoughts that I had. And when you're doing this, you may want to start off by doing small chunks. Instead of writing like 50 pages, you might just want to kind of sum up in about a paragraph or so what it is that you're believing, just so that it doesn't get too overwhelming. Now, let's get to the truth. Now, again, you can write literal Bible verses. You can ask ask God, what does he say about your situation, and write what you sense he's telling you. Or if you're not really sure what God thinks in a situation, you can literally just think, if I had a best friend or somebody that I loved, what would I tell this person about what they're believing? And so what you basically do is you go one thought by one thought, and you write the truth for every belief or every lie that you're experiencing. So here's the truths that I wrote down in this situation. Number 1, my worth is defined by Christ. Number 2, God can give me grace, peace, and favor. Number 3, God can supply me with the right things to say. Number 4, God can give me peace. Number 5, interviews may feel awkward, but God can give me grace. Number 6, God can call to mind the correct answers. Number 7, God has not given me a spirit of fear and timidity, but power, love, and a sound mind. Number 8, God can give me the strength to do hard things. Number 9, God can give me the wisdom to answer. And number 10, God can give me confidence and grace. So a lot of these kind of sound the same, but it's what I needed to marinate in as the truth in my situation. And so the awesome thing about truth journaling is sometimes, we can kind of get ourselves to a place of peace and feel good, but then maybe like an hour later, we start freaking out again. And so you can just keep truth journaling. You can reread over the truth that you felt like God already gave you, and you can use this for about any situation in the world. So if you guys have any questions about truth journaling or any scenarios that you want to throw out there that you kind of need help with, I'd love to talk with you about them. And I think I forgot to say, if you've never subscribed before, please subscribe, like, comment, and share, and all that good stuff. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye for now.